since 1990 and up until now. Now, it says overall, the Jordan 5 Black Metallic is a timeless sneaker that combines heritage design and nostalgia, making it one of the most sought after Jordans ever. Are you thinking of buying a pair? Hell no. Okay. Now, it sounds like it could go anywhere from, I don't know, the 200 range. But of course, if you are a sneakerhead and you buy them, you can resell them for God knows how much, right? Now, I want to show y'all a video that I saw that really made me kind of want to talk about it. So here we go. Hey, K-Mac, how you doing? Here we go. Okay, so as you saw there was a lot of people, and a lot of those people look like us, but admittedly, in a lot of other videos that I saw other people standing out there, not as many as us, right? I don't know, maybe they're getting the shoes online, which it sounds like you could do that as well. But I was a little disheartened by that. Now, listen, I was a kid once, and there's a lot of things that I liked that I bought. I also worked, so I had a job, summer job, and I worked throughout high school. So there are a lot of things that I wanted and I bought. So I don't want to discount them and saying they should never want those type of things or whatever the case is. You should. But as I think about a lot of other things that we need and not even want, right, but need in our community, I think a tennis shoe that's in the upwards of $200 and something, I guess, is probably one of the last things we need. Now, of course, I tell you guys all the time, I don't anymore, but I used to sell life insurance. Used to have a life insurance license in California, life and health to be exact. So I know a little bit about it. So I also want to say this because there's a misnomer that the Black community, we don't have life insurance policies to the tune of everybody else. Of course, we know that's not true. We have, in fact, we're one of the most insured groups of people. So it says, as of 2021, approximately 56% of Black Americans own life insurance, which is slightly higher than the 52% ownership rate among the total U.S. population. Now it says about 75% of Black Americans believe they should have life insurance coverage, indicating that many feel underinsured. Remember that. Additionally, 46%, representing 20 million adults, acknowledge they need or need more life insurance. So again, it's not that we don't have life insurance. Again, over 56% having life insurance. So about 4% over the national average, right? So again, I guess that makes us the most insured. We're just the most underinsured, which means if you're underinsured, you don't have enough. So let's say I got a life insurance policy in 1980, right? Let's say, in this hypothetically speaking, a funeral in 1980 was $2,500. Great. You got a policy for $3,000. Well, let's say you're still alive in 2025, right? Funeral today is not $2,500 a day. It's on average about $12,000 to $15,000 give, and probably more on the give than take side. So you didn't get a policy that kept up with inflation and a whole host of other things. I don't want to speak too many numbers because I know we start to lose people with that. But the point is, at what point do we start teaching our children and ourselves, right? Because I would imagine there's a lot of adults out there. It wasn't just kids, a lot of adults. At what point do we start speaking about the importance of having things that can leave a legacy, like a life insurance policy, opposed to tennis shoes? Now, listen, as I said, I'm not a shoe aficionado. I have a nephew and my younger brother, rather. They love tennis shoes, maybe not to that degree, but they could talk all about the tennis shoes and things like that. And so what I'm saying is, I know a lot of times people can resell them. They hold their value. In fact, my younger brother, I bought him a pair of Jordans. Don't ask me which one they were, in the 90s, early 90s, and he still has them. He still has them. So, I thought that was pretty cool. But at what point do we really start to have this conversation that we don't need to be standing outside in our bonnets and pajamas and blankets, waiting for them to drop the latest tennis shoe? At what point do we say tennis shoes are cool, but how much money do we have in the bank? Parents, before you buy your children those Jordans, did you buy them a life insurance policy, right? Or other things that are needed, whether it's books or computers, you name it, right? When do we start having that conversation? So, and I'm going to get into the comment section in just a few. Donovan?
Hey, yeah. again, I'm not surprised. I'm not, well, I am. You're always going to judge somebody based on your standards, but I'm not looking down on these people. When they don't know no better, you can't do better. And if that's the way they were taught and groomed, they're going to continue to do what they were taught and groomed. Funny thing is, Dimitri, on my channel on Facebook, I went live one day and I actually talked about things like this. And because I got comic books. A lot of people don't believe me, Dimitri. You know that I had comic books that are worth like $10,000, $5,000 that I had on my wall. Can you verify that? Yeah. I had to take them off the wall because every time Dimitri came to my house, something was missing. No, I'm just joking. But everything over time will, and I said this on my show, will get some type of value. There's a market for it. It's like these bags and these purses you ladies get. I did not know, as a man, I did not know what the issue is with having these burgundy bags and Birka bags or whatever you guys call them, right? And okay, I'm a military person. You're average logical thinker, and you guys that are in the military. I went to Camp Pendleton one day, and they had some name brand pocketbooks, whatever bags, in the Marine Corps Exchange. And by the way, the Marine Corps and the Navy Exchange, well, really, I think the Marine Corps, they have the best exchange when it comes to selection compared to the Air Force. The Air Force, we ain't got nothing. But somebody had to explain to me these bags, ladies, some of these bags are going for 3,000, 4,000, 7,000. They were up there. And it was at the Marine Corps Exchange. And I was like, what average Marine, airman, sailor, guardian could afford this? Even as an officer, there's no way I would do it. But I guess because of the military wives want these things in there, because you could always put it on layaway or whatever you're going to do, Star or whatever the thing is. And they were getting money, and it would explain to me that those bags rarely lose value. So again, I'm not a sneaker person like that myself. So I would think that the sneakers would be the same as what the bag is, depending on, your usage and wear and tear and all that other stuff. So a lot of things over time, if you keep it long enough, will have value. I'll give you another great example. My house here in Moreno Valley was made in 1980. And I want to keep the original aesthetic of the house. Yeah, it's upgraded in certain areas, but I want to keep the original aesthetics, right? My house is valued more than these quick $80,000 houses that are just thrown up, because I've got real wood, real things in it. So I'm not surprised at this, but at the same time, it is disappointing when and if you come from a disadvantaged area. A lot of us, I'm from the hood, or I'm this, or whatever you're from, and you prioritize things you really should not prioritize at this time. It's really sad. We always talk about, well, when we were coming up, Dimitri, we were always talking about getting out of the ghetto. Remember the Evans family? The whole key was to get out of the ghetto. They were always trying to get out. James, they were going to move to Alabama. James got killed, ended up staying, whatever. All these things started happening. But then we started glamorizing living in the hood, hood rich. You guys remember that? I'm hood rich. And that's the popular thing. And it's so sad that we have conditioned our kids to think that mediocrity is okay.
Yeah, I see some of y'all putting your tennis shoe preferences rather than there. Reebok, New Balance. I'm a New Balance person myself because I work out in New Balance. And a good friend of mine years ago turned me on to New Balances. He said this is the best shoe for walking, running. And ever since my daughter and I, we buy New Balances. We go to the outlet and we'll purchase a pair about every 6 months, because if you're active, you probably go through a pair of tennis shoes every 6 months. But I use tennis shoes and I do have some tennis shoes that I might wear every once in a while. And CJ, I'm like you. I don't tend to like to wear tennis shoes like if I'm going somewhere, but if I'm kind of just walking around or whatever the town, yeah, I do have different types of tennis shoes. I'll put it that way. I won't get into all the shoes that I have, but I do have some.
I don't want to cut you off, Dimitri, but you guys, Dimitri still has the Michael Jackson and the MC Hammer LA Gears or whatever they were.
I wish I could find me some LA Gears. I'd love to just collect them. I did have a pair of LA Gear back in the 80s though. So yeah, let me get into the comment section and read you guys' comments. But yeah, and Obi Bay, rather, how you doing? It says, I think that was the line at Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta. It sold at a City Gear. That's where, City Trends, I think it was, or one of those, I don't know. One of those stores. So anyway, Dimpleface says, he says, they had many chances, but Florida helped them back. Talk about a good times. Stephen James, how you doing? Says, Ghetto Fabulous forever. And I want to say this too, buying a pair of tennis shoes is not necessarily ghetto. It's not ghetto at all. I keep getting all these spammers. Go to hell, spammers. They keep calling me. Buying a pair of tennis shoes is not ghetto. Ghetto is having a pair of tennis shoes and then you need a GoFundMe if somebody passes away, right? That's where the rubber meets the road. Is like not in a tennis shoe. I think it's kind of symbolic because there's a lot of things that, and I'm just talking about us. We as a people, we purchase, we buy over the things that we really need. My dad always says sometimes we buy what we oftentimes, right? Buy what we want and not what we need. So how do we get from buying what we want more so and then get what we need type of thing, right? Which is kind of why we give away 97% of the almost $2 trillion that we have in our community now. We give it away. A lot of stuff that we need, but I think a lot of it is the stuff that we want. Anyway, Moves, how you doing? Says, this is beautifully said, the recovering Democrat. And Obi Bay says, New Balance comfortable. Yes, very comfortable. Roz, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. He says, greetings, family. Too much to spend on purses and shoes. Save that money for real assets like a home, education, etc. Yes. K-Mac says, I like Skechers because they have a large variety of wide sizes. Yes, I do Skechers every once in a while for the memory foam, but really more so a New Balance.
I do not do Skechers because of what they did to my city. Cannot do
the warehouse. Mad Dog says, I wear New Balance too. They are definitely good workout shoes. Oh, at the best. And Obi Baby says they call them old folk shoes. What you talking about, the New Balances? They have some pretty cool New Balances, and they go up there in prices depending on which kind you get, right? And Dimpleface said, right. And Daryl, he says, I still wear my Shaq shoes. I'm trying to find some Stephon Marbury's. Yeah, I used to buy my daughter a pair when they were a couple bucks when he first came out with them. Absolutely.
Yeah, what was the name of those pairs he used to pump them up? Remember D Brown and during the All-Star thing? Yeah, the pumps.
Yeah, Reebok pumps. Moosey says, wow, you two are telling your ages. Yeah, you mentioned LA Gear. Yeah, I'll be 54 in April. Ain't no shame in my game. Yes, I'm in my 50s. And sometimes I feel like I'm in my 60s. Jersey Rick, he says, I wear New Balance sneakers as they're very comfortable for my flat feet. That kept me out from joining the army. And my daughter has flat feet and she wears the New Balances and they're really comfortable. Me, I have a very nice arch. Sometimes it gets on my nerves. And Xbox Pro is, how you doing? He says, white boy shoes, talking about the New Balances. I mean, whether they the white boy shoes, I know what you're getting at. I guess typically they're considered to be, I see all people wearing the shoes, but I get where you're going with that. I don't care what kind of shoes they are as long as they're comfortable. Because like I said, I work out for real. I go walking, I go jogging. And if you wear bad shoes, then it also ricochets up your legs. So then it messes up your knees and it's just a lot, right? So I'm one of those people, I'm going to spend a good penny on something that's going to be good for me. I'm not going to go out there and just waste money on stuff that I can kind of fudge on a little bit. But tennis shoes or shoes in general, I ain't going to mess my feet up, because I'm trying to save $1.
Yeah, and how do I say this without being perceived as disrespectful? I think that's one of our biggest problems. We are so worried about what our peers think and whatever. Demetra comes over my house. I do not have one name brand shoe. Not one. Everything I get, it's a shoe. It looks good. I was raised on this. It isn't the clothes or the shoes that make the man. It's the man that makes the clothes. So when I see people thinking, oh man, because I got this shirt, I'm gonna get all the girls. Remember when you were young, remember in the movie The Wood, they're getting their little mints and stuff and they're trying to get, it doesn't matter. You could have a $60 shirt on. If you're just an ass, you're just an ass and you will always be an ass to a lot of women out there if that's your personality. It's the person that makes the clothes. And so it's amazing to me, and I know it's prevalent in our community where we are so worried about what other people think about us. And I think we need to get away from that because, like I said, you ain't paying my bills. You ain't sleeping with me at night. So why should I care if I'm wearing a certain shoe and everybody else is wearing the Jordans? Because when I was growing up in Japan, when the Jordans first came out in '84, they were all made in Korea, and they're still made in Korea. You would go over there and get the brand new Jordans and the imperfected ones, like a string might be hanging out for back in those days for like 10, 12 bucks. And we used to go overseas during the summertime, get our school clothes in Korea. And then the first day of school, everybody had the new Jordans and stuff. My parents, I dealt with the Converse. That's what, they went with, and that's what it was going to be. So.
April, good old 13th. April 13th. I am an Aries through and through. My daughter reminds me of that all the time. But welcome. Let's see who else is here. In Manning, it says, I want my, what did I put? It said, I want my Eagles Super Bowl gear, and I'm going to get, I got to get it to represent. Okay. Well, that is your right. Moody says, please, you two reiterate the importance of the rules rather than us doing what your title says. It's so important. So you say reiterate the importance of the rules rather than us doing what your title says. Okay, I think I get where you're going with that. So let me get down to the comments and I'll come back to that. Michelle says, Brooks Leviathan are the best walking shoe. I like Brooks. I've had a pair of those before. Maybe not that particular one. Walking running shoes, New Balance are nice as well, but Brooks have more cushion. Yeah, those are good too. I Negroes, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Your average logical thinker. Are you talking to somebody else? But hello once again. Let's see here. Okay, so he says, oops, I meant to say the rules of money above when I asked you to reiterate. Okay, got it. Maybe that's why I was a tiny bit confused. Mad Dog says, I missed those and one. Yes, shoes, they were great. I remember those. I Negro said Super Bowl had me feeling like a true American. Oh Lord. I said I wasn't gonna get into the Super Bowl, but we could chat it up for just a bit if y'all want, because my views are a little bit different than a lot of people, and I don't know if I'll be having energy to really go into it like that. Tito, how you doing? Says you don't got no Chuck Taylors, Donovan.
Yes, I still got the black and the white canvas ones, but I can't wear them at my age because my feet. And like I said, it's very important you guys take care of your feet. There's an old saying by the ladies. This is what my aunts were telling me. When you want to see if a man's got like some money or whatever, he's a prominent person, you look at his watch and you look at the shoes on his feet. Thus, Demetra's dad will mow grass in Stacey Adams shoes.
Yes,
you got to take care of your feet. How many of you guys see these older people, God bless them, and they're walking like Fred Sanford? And, it was all cute and stuff when you were young, but that will catch up to you later on. So please do not sacrifice your health or your physicality because you want to look cute. That's all good and great to look cute, but you got to be realistic about your health. What's more important? You being able to walk correctly without any, problems, or you being in a wheelchair later on down the road.
Absolutely a different view. Says hello, and Clarks are good shoes. Yeah, that's my sister. She loves Clarks. They're a little bit too, maybe a little on the therapeutic side, or what do you call it? Like, I don't know, geriatric side. But they make some nice shoes. I'm just not there yet, right? I could still walk a little bit in a heel or two, not too high like I used to though. So
yeah, I think when people think of shoes, they think of those people that have the extra heel, because maybe their one leg is shorter than the other, and you're thinking that guy that had that sole. Yeah, we're not talking about those guys, but that's so that person can walk correctly.
Yeah, and I meant orthopedic shoes. Negro says I don't wear sneakers. I wear Doc Martens. Yeah, I had a pair of Doc Martens back in the day. Back in high school. But yeah, I wear sneakers every once in a while, but I do put on heels or boots or something when the time calls for it. And I have a few pair of Chuck Taylors, as I do. It's probably one of my favorite shoes. Anyway, CJ says it's true. If he has well-made shoes, it speaks volumes. His teeth too. Yeah. But there's also a lot of broke men walking around in well-made shoes because they're spending all their money on well-made shoes. I'm just saying, one of my favorite books my mom gave me a long time ago, RIP to her, was The Millionaire Next Door. because it says you will never know a millionaire next door. You would think you will, right? We think we see a millionaire, he or she is driving a Porsche and they got these, expensive clothes and jewelry on, and you could just see, oh my God, that's the $20,000 Hermes bag. But most of the time, a millionaire is like, I'm driving a Honda. I got my shoes, maybe from J.C. Penney's or whatever. It's a lower end, a New Balance sneaker or whatever the case is, right? They don't blow all their money so you can think that they're rich. So anyway.
And real quick, I want to add to that. When we're talking about, investing in your health and, things of that nature. You don't let style keep you from investing. I mean, it is so important. When you're younger, the gym doesn't really matter because you're young and you're strong and you could just, you could bounce back, whatever. But when you're older, I'm going to be 55, double nickel this year. And I have to go to even though I'm a slim person, I still have to go to the gym to maintain my health, get the oxygen in my blood going and all that other. It's more so important. So what I'm saying is it has been not statistically proven, but it has been proven in a lot of situations. A lot of our sisters will not go to the gym because they've got a hair hat on their head. They don't want to sweat. These are like things, and I get it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say whatever. But what I'm saying is, I think it's a little crazy that some people that need to go to the gym or need to work at their health rather look cute. And looking cute for a man is just a moment. It ain't like, your whole lifestyle. Because when we get with you guys and we marry you guys, we see you in the bonnets and stuff. You don't even dress up for us anymore once we got you. So it's a moment. But a lot of ladies are sacrificing their health because they don't want to sweat, whatever that situation is. I think it's kind of asinine when they do that.
Gee, and I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to yours and the other comment. He says I'm headed out, but I think the show causes me to hallucinate. I say that because it's only a side of Demetra that it seems my eyes are bearing witness to beautiful angels sent from heaven. I do have a couple of wings on my back, but thank you. I appreciate you so much. And be careful. I know you said you're flying back to Houston. Have safe travels. Okay, let me say this. Right, yeah, average logical thinking. Right. Let me get to these comments. Negroes, you say, Robert says haunted wigs. What? Negro says walking 8 to 10,000 steps a day helps. Yes, that is absolutely true. Brother Don says a millionaire next door he says an F-150. Yep, in the driveway, a general contractor and owns his home. Come on now. Daryl says the high school I went to, some of the rich kids wore raggedy clothing. One girl has sweatpants with pins holding them up. Her father is a doctor. Yeah, they don't put too much importance on clothes. Miller, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Okay, let me say this, and then I want to get back to the other question. Often hear, yes, and sisters, yes, we do need to work out, but I go to the gym and I see brothers and sisters, and it's probably an even mix of them, but I always hear the indictment on sisters not wanting to work out and our hair and stuff. That is true, but brothers, y'all dropping like flies at a very early age. And as I always say, while y'all are admonishing the sisters, admonish yourselves. Irv Gotti was what, 54, 55? He's a young cat having strokes. And I know he had issues with diabetes and a whole host of, that's the conversations y'all need to be having. Hey, brothers, go to the gym. I know that you probably don't think you need to because you're slender and all this other stuff, but eating fried chicken and drinking Pepsi every day, even though you're skinny, is not healthy for you. You need to get out there, put some tennis shoes on, get to the gym, go outside, huff and puff. As my doctor said, yeah, you out there walking. He told me this years ago. But if you ain't busting a sweat and huffing and puffing, it ain't working, right? So that little cute walk around the block, you doing it to the mailbox, yeah, that's cute in theory, but it ain't really helping you, right? So again, brothers, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, and the sisters are right behind us, but y'all morbidity rate is, I guess, high or low, depending on how you look at it. So yeah, y'all need to have a word with each other. Don't worry about what's up under these bonnets. We got the sisters. Y'all go get the brothers. Now I want to say this too. And I guess let me get back to this comment. M. Manning, was that you? I'm not gonna laugh at you about the cortisone shot in the knees. God forbid I ever need that. My knees are still pretty good. So, but no, I would never laugh. I heard it's very painful. You asked about, basically, and I guess I'm paraphrasing the solution in regards to not buying tennis shoes And while not having a life insurance policy is just that. We have to twist our priorities back the other way. You should not have, and I'll give you a perfect example. You guys know my brother, and this is probably more of an appropriate conversation for him, Walter. Um, he has a lot of experience in financial services. And I asked him one day, I said, do you know what the Christian Louboutins are? He says, no. And I said, those are the red bottom shoes. He goes, really? And I said, yeah, they could go for, on average, probably $600, $700, $800. I said, how much money do you think you need to be making to buy those shoes? He says, if you're not making at least $600,000 a year, you shouldn't be spending those $600 on a pair of shoes, right? So we have to make sure we get everything that we need. Do you have life insurance, not just for you, for the children, your spouse, and your baby daddy, your baby mama? Because like I said, I used to sell life insurance, and trust me, I've had that conversation one too many times. Hello, my baby daddy just died, but his mama got life insurance, but she talking about she ain't gonna give me none. So is there anything I can do about it? Are you the beneficiary? Because I could look, but I couldn't tell her if she was, or if she was, I could tell her if she wasn't. I couldn't say anything about it. No. Well, ma'am, it's not your policy. His mama took the policy out on him. She is the owner and the beneficiary, and that the life insurance funds, if you will, belong to her. And so I say all that to say, if you have a baby daddy, and I know sometimes it gets silly, why you gonna try to kill me or whatever. Also knowing that the beneficiary is often the first one looked at if something funky goes on in a death. Okay, I just want to put that out there. But if you got a baby daddy, a baby mama, and maybe they're paying child support, or you depend on them to watch the children, or some form of fashion, which if you're the other parent, there's some dependency, get a life insurance policy out on them, because the sad reality is they may die. Now, life insurance policy is to protect against a death, right? To ensure life. So if somebody dies, then the money goes to make sure that the quality of life continues, right? So let's say I'm married to, a billionaire, and for whatever reason he dies, and all the money just goes up in smoke. And I say, oh, did he have a life insurance policy? And then whoever it is says no. Now, mind you, if I'm married to a billionaire, I'm used to certain things, right? Now, if he left me unprotected and there was no money and none of that other stuff, then I'm probably going to have to get out there and work at the Waffle House or something. I don't want to do that. So life insurance policy is that. If you have young children, like I said, I got my life insurance policy for myself when my daughter was a very small child. And I thought about, God forbid, if I were to go today, I would want her to go to college. And I want to pay for that, even though I'm not here. I want to, whoever is going to have my child, which would probably be my sister or my mom or whoever, I want to make sure that they were able to take care of her, because get this, you guys, listen to this. Oftentimes when people die and you leave your children with somebody and you don't leave them with money, guess what could happen to them? They could be abused. They could be told that your mama and daddy, their whole life made to feel less than they are. A whole host of other things, because at the root of it, that person is pissed off that they now have another mouth to feed, and that you died and left you their children, which you should be your most prized possession, right? But you didn't leave them no money to take care of them. So these things are very important. And I also want to say this, and give me a second, Donovan, because this is important. A lot of people really don't understand it. Because I had this, not saying that you, but I'm saying I used to have this conversation a lot. And my market was our people. I go to their house, try to give them the spiel, see what they're working with, this, that. And no, I'm good because I got a burial policy. Oh, really? What can you tell me about that burial policy? Yeah, that burial policy, if I die, then it's going to pay to bury me. Okay, great. Do you know that burial policy is not a life insurance policy? That burial policy is just for the plot, and that you have to pay. And I'm telling you, we have to pay to bury my mom. She had life insurance stuff, but I'm telling you all the stuff that came with it. $1,600 to open the ground, $1,600 to close the ground. And it was just, the plot was already paid for, but you have to pay $350 every time you move the body. So when they move my mom's body from the house to the mortuary, $350. They moved her from the mortuary to the church, $350. When they moved her from the church to the cemetery, $350. All that stuff adds up. So when I hear somebody say, I got a burial plot insurance, you just got a plot, but you got to pay somebody to go in there and you got to pay somebody to close it up. I'm just giving you the game because I know a lot of times people don't know it. And I'm going to tell you this too. You know why you don't know it? Because a lot of times that people sell it to you, they don't want you to know that. They just want to get the sale. And sometimes it's out of racism, and which is what it was, why we as Black people are underinsured. Y'all can look it up if you don't believe me, because we know that life insurance policies make it possible to leave a legacy when you die, right? A lot of times we're told, "Oh, just get enough to bury him." How much is the funeral? 15,000. Okay, I'm gonna get 16,000 so I can get a bucket of chicken, right? But you want to pay for the funeral. I want to make sure my children can, maybe go to college or get a car or a house or something, right? So that back then, life insurance policies were sold just at what you need, not to leave a legacy. Now, when them folks die, they might have money already, but guess what? I got life insurance too. And I'm going to die and I'm going to leave my family something so they can continue on living as though I was still here. So I know that was a little bit long-winded, but I thought I'd give that an explanation because a lot of times people don't really understand. And you go buy a $250 pair of shoes. If you have a baby can be insured at 10 days old. If you bought a pair of Jordans and you just had a baby and your baby is not insured, think about it. You possibly could have paid up for a life insurance policy for a 10-day-old baby for a year and then some, depending on how much the policy is. So just want to put that on out there.
Quick question, Demetra. What is the source of 70% of all white wealth? If you know.
Now, damn well I know. I mean, what is this, a trick bag question?
Well, no, I'm asking that. I'm asking that for some of our people that.
Well, we know that life insurance, that's how they leave wealth, is life insurance, right? And as I said too, and Donovan, let me know if you see some comments on there that I need to address. That's how they leave wealth, is life insurance. That's how they do it, right? Because some people, and I've heard this a lot, especially from our people, because it was our market. I'm not saying other people don't use these excuses, if that was my market. That's a bill. That's a bill. I could be doing with that money. Oh, but you got cable. You got all the bells and the whistles, the purses and the shoes and this. Because, if you're doing your life insurance job right, you're sitting down and doing a budget analysis with them, which means you're asking them what they're making and what they're spending, right? And then in between what they're making and spending, you see what they can actually sacrifice in a sense of sacrifice that something they should be doing, but what they can give, they can spend on life insurance without the policy lapsing. Because when the policy lapses, that means that they're not insured. And I've dealt with that a lot, even to the tune of having to tell people, I'm sorry, sir, your mom's policy lapsed a year ago. Oh, I don't know how we're going to bury my mom. Well, you can donate the body to science. And I hated to tell people that, or you can leave her at the morgue and they can put her and have a mass cremation, and they'll cremate her along with all the other bodies they need to cremate that day. And they will give you a little box or bag of ashes. And that ashes is essentially the Freddy Krueger of the morgue, right? Y'all know the story of Freddy Krueger. He's the son of a bastard of 1,000 fathers. Y'all can go look that up. But nevertheless, you don't know whose ashes are in that urn that they give you, because the county, they have to get rid of those bodies. So they can't wait. A lot of times it's 30 days. Los Angeles, they were shortening the time at one point in time because they just had a pile up of bodies that people couldn't claim. Because for one thing, they don't allow you to just back the family station wagon up to the morgue and take your mom and daddy home and do what you want to do to it. Now, back in the Western days, yeah, you could do that, but we've gotten a little bit more civilized where you can't just, if you believe it or not, living room was called that because that's where you viewed the body. That's why they call it the living room, but you can't do that no more. So.
Yeah, and another quick question I have for you, since you're kind of knowledgeable of this, and people don't think about this. Yes, grandma goes on to glory and all that, and going to the upper room. They go to the upper room, and she's got the policy. Grandma's always had the policy, right? She's paid on it. She's up to, grandma, grandpa, they paid on it, blah, blah, blah. And also be mindful that lifetime partners, when one dies, The other is not far behind in a lot of cases. So be prepared for both of them. But let's just say grandma and grandpa, they're up there and she just passed away. She had a $15,000 policy that she bought in 1968. And that is her policy. It's 2025. Cost of living adjustment. Is that policy that is fully paid for $15,000? Is that going to pay for the today, Dimitri? I mean, is there a cost of living adjustment as they do that? Or is that something that we have to stay on top of to cover? Because what I got in 1968 might not be the same as 2025.
Yeah, it should be done, and I would imagine things are a little bit different now. But yeah, things should be done for the cost to adjust for the cost of inflation. Absolutely. If you're good at what you do, you're not just going in there slanging policies or what we call shotgun appointments. Get the appointment. Get the, without going through what they need. Then yeah, you do adjust for the cost of inflation. You're supposed to. My ad blog, how you doing? Basically, I want to go back to this because I Mondo, how you doing? I hate when people get in their feelings, and I'm not really trying to, say that about you. You said it's sad only Black people watch how other people spend their money, and you're not paying any of their bills. He also said too, and Thunder and Queen Adaya, how you doing? And Tyrone, what's going on with you? You say, you guys are way off in this combo. How do you guys know all these people out there did not have life insurance policy in the South? Most men 35 and up took out life insurance policies. First of all, I don't know if you were here or not in the beginning, but I did reference that. But I want to go back here. And you say you're not paying any of their bills. You know what? Nobody's pocket watching anybody. But I'm going to tell you this, Mondo. I cannot tell you how many times I've had somebody hit my... I almost said a cuss word because I get very passionate about this. You know what I mean? Because this right here is the stuff that throws us off. We're offended that we having this conversation, but I'll tell you, I cannot count the many times that I've had somebody drop a GoFundMe in my inbox, my text message, or call me and ask me, can I contribute to a funeral? And like I said, I used to sell life insurance, so I know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, my God. How many people came to you via a friend that just got life insurance or somebody knocked on the door? Because that's the kind of life insurance agent that I was. I knocked on doors of people I didn't know, and I was able to sell life insurance policies. How many times did somebody speak to you before you had to do a GoFundMe? And then somebody like yourself, Mondo, you want to get mad because somebody having this conversation. Well, what conversation would you rather us have other than enlightening our people? And I said this, but clearly you late to the party. Sit down somewhere. I said that Black people are the most insured, but we're also the most underinsured. So if you are underinsured, and yes, some of those people, probably a lot of them, probably had life insurance to some degree, but I bet you a lot of them didn't. And a lot of them will probably appreciate having this conversation. Now, if that ain't you, brother, then go somewhere where y'all can talk about the stuff you want to talk about. Then I want to get back to this. You says most men, and I'm from Southern California, okay? So maybe you, I don't know, I can't speak for what you do in the South, okay? You says life insurance in the South, most men 35 and up, moms took out life insurance. See, that's why now, I have to think 5 times before I speak. First of all, brother, if you yes, your mama should have life insurance policy on you, yes. But do you got one on yourself? Do you have one on yourself? And if you have children, because I'd imagine if you're 35, you might, maybe you don't, I don't know. But do you have life insurance on your children? You probably, I mean, I'm not saying you, but a lot of men 35 and up that got their mamas with their life insurance policy that's going to have their baby mama or their wife fighting with their mama over her life insurance policy. Do you have one out on yourself? Did you take one out and say, hey, baby mama, in case something happened to me in America, could, because you're a Black man in America, I took out a life insurance policy. You the beneficiary. Don't run me over. But I took out a life insurance policy. You the beneficiary. Because I'm paying child support, I'm contributing to my kids. Something happened to me. I want to be able to take care of them in case I die. Now my mama, because your mama might not want to do that, and your mama, rightfully so, would be in her rights, be like, I insured you. Now, if this heifer was stupid enough, and yeah, I said it, If this helper was stupid enough to lay down with you and bear some children with you without saying, hey, we got responsibilities now. Let's go down to the local life insurance agent and get a policy on you and the child and myself, then that's her problem. Don't be mad at your mama. But listen, brother, don't you ever open your mouth and talk about what your mama paying for you as a 35-year-old plus man, unless you talking about you got one too. You should be ashamed of yourself. Matter of fact, I hope you erase the comment by the time I get off of here.
Yeah, if you go down in the comments, Mondo says, talk about white people. It's a lot to talk about, but you enjoy downing black people. He also says, my mom is holding me down.
Shame, shame. Look. Mondo look like he at least 45.
Mama's holding me down. Wait.
Hold on. And I'm about to block you because you ignorant. I don't even have a life insurance license. I don't have the ability to, but see, you were ignorant. Y'all fill in the blank because again, yes, and this is why we don't really talk about this kind of stuff on this show, because it always goes left. And you got people like that. I'm gonna tell y'all another story. I got stories for days for life insurance. I can't tell y'all another story. I told this one before. I'm gonna tell it again for Mondo because it's his mama take care of him. Okay. I went to sell a life insurance policy, right? The appointment, it's called life insurance appointment. Talked to this nice lady. She's a sister. And she had a man that kind of looked like Mondo. Now that I think about it, from this little picture I could see. And she was one of them, oh, I got a burial insurance. I got a plot. Now, mind you, she was unhealthy. So we had to, she ended up getting a rated policy, which means if you're unhealthy, the insurance company says, we know you're unhealthy. We're going to insure you, but we assume the risk. You're just going to pay a higher premium because we know that you could die any day because you're unhealthy. The premium is going to be higher. Okay. While we're trying to have this appointment, her man was sitting in the back. Oh, my, nah, baby, you don't need that. Nah, baby, you don't need that. They just in here trying to say, you don't need that. But nevertheless, she was like, you know what? I think I need the policy. She got it. Mind you, it was rated. Do you know that lady died probably like 3-something months later? And guess who she made the beneficiary? His raggedy black ass. And I was so mad, but I can't tell the lady what to do. But she went against what he said and got the policy anyway. And he ended up being the beneficiary of that money. And she died. She had heart issues. But he was in there like a chihuahua. Don't get the policy. And she left him better when she died.
But what's
so
that?
I don't have the ability to sell life insurance. I don't have a license. But I like talking about it because we need to catch up with this wealth gap. It's going to take us 232 years to catch up with the wealth gap, and life insurance will help us do that. But like I said, since your behind is so ignorant, maybe you need to sit down and learn something. But again, I can't have too many conversations with a man talking about his mama's taking care of him.
Yeah, you know, because unfortunately, a lot of people in the chat, Demetra, they know and have insurance and they handle their business because that's the kind of audience we have. But every now and then you're going to have people that don't know or never heard, and you can't blame, and you know, and I'm not a religious person like that, but people that have not heard of the gospel of Jesus Christ, do you think they're going to heaven or are they going to hell? If they never heard it, they're going to heaven because they never heard it. So the people that don't know about insurance, this might be something new to them that they might, you know, take on. However, let's just talk about this in transition. And again, if you're a 30-something-year-old man and your mama's holding you, I would have never said that on a public forum. I would have never said that if that was the case. But anyway, that's my opinion on that. But if we're talking about insurance, if you have a house and you have assets, what you should also be talking about, not only just insurance, is putting those assets into a trust, living trust if you're still alive today, and a trust for later. Because let's face it, our kids will sometimes get with somebody that probably ain't got no sense, that you probably don't like and whatever, and they're going to be drained and assets been taken from them. But if you put your stuff into a trust and look into it and get a lawyer and set up a trust to put your assets in, they will be protected and then your kids will have a legacy, and your grandkids and stuff will have a legacy that will be passed down. These are things that white people, and I can attest to it. I remember I was flying to England, and I'm on the plane, and I'm the relief pilot, and the other air crew members were talking about living trusts and insurance. This is what they talk about. They talk about money and how to do it and when they're going to do it. So for us, like you said, Demetra, we have a lot of catching up to do. We have a lot of catching up to do in how this game is played. How many of us right now in the South, how much land is being basically taken from Black people, all because the kids don't know how to pay the property tax? Never heard of it. They were never taught about it. These are the things, the conversations we got to have.
And hello to everybody that's come on here. I'm going to try to catch up as fast as I can. Sunlight, how you doing? It says, why can't policies be bought for a one-time payment? That's a problem for people with inconsistency in income. It can. People often do it. You just got to have the money, because those policies aren't cheap, depending on how much you get, or whatever. If you're really trying to leave a legacy and stuff, a lot of times people get $1 million policy, $500,000 policy. Now, if you got $500,000 or whatever the case is, yeah, then, go ahead and do that. But that's why people do payments. Now, you can also get policies that are not a lifetime payment. You can get some that are paid up, I think, in like 15 years or, give or take, something like that. But yeah, so they do have some that it can be done like that. And oftentimes people do. Jersey Rick, how you doing? Says, you sound like I work for Primerica. Nope, I actually tell y'all a story. And not no shade to Primerica or anything like that. Primerica's motto is buy term and invest the difference, right? So basically, term life policy is a lot cheaper than all the other policies. And they say invest the difference. Basically, don't get you a life insurance vehicle policy that will pay for death and or a return of interest. You go to another place, a bank or something, and invest the difference. I don't like that, because I know a lot of people won't do that. It's easier for them to do it if they have one vehicle policy or instrument or whatever you want to call it, that they can insure against death, and they can save as far as an investment, a return on their investment and things like that. In fact, one time I had a client, she had a small policy with our company, but she also had a very large one with Primerica. And it was worth a few $100,000. Let's just say I was able to, she had it for a long time. She's wanting to, do something else with it. Let's say that I was able to get that sale. It was a really good sale. I'll just put it that way, because Primerica just kind of left her hanging. No shade to Primerica. I don't like the way they do business, but yeah, no, I never worked for Primerica. And I don't have a life insurance policy now. I just want to say that, because, ignorant people think I'm on here trying to make a sale. Listen, as my mama used to say, it was a quote by Og Mandino, if I'm not mistaken, timid salespeople have skinny kids. Well, that means that if I was on here trying to make a sale, I don't have a problem with saying that I was trying to make a sale, but I'm not trying to do that because I don't have the ability to sell life insurance. Just want to put that out there. Hey, Jerry Green, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I believe Jerry does, though. I think Jerry has the ability to sell life insurance. Y'all want to, get at him if you're underinsured. You are free. I'm not a hater. Y'all are free to do that, right? I'm just going to put that out there.
And a fellow veteran, thank you for your service. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Roger says this is deep. You're dropping knowledge to me. I'm just trying to help because, like I said, I've seen it all as a life insurance agent. I felt bad for a lot of these people, because you don't really have people, telling them what's going on, right? And Thunder, he says that's one thing this new generation can learn from the older women. They always had life insurance policy on everybody. Yep, sure did. Go on and get some insurance on that baby. I do it. I pay for it. I was talking about it for my own little nieces and nephews. I think my brother's pretty good about getting his grandchildren insured, but I was like, well, if they don't, I'll do it, because who wants to dig in their pocket to the tune of $12,000, $15,000 for a funeral? People die all the time for guys knows what reasons, impromptu, whatever, ran over by a bus, and getting that kind of money together for a day event, is a lot.
Yeah, real quick, Asha, my girl Asha says, I have a policy through my credit union. And that's a policy that credit unions set up. You don't even have to do a physical on it. So that's a backdoor way to get a high policy. And sometimes the credit union gives you like $2,000 free. They just say, hey, just sign up for it. We'll cover you for $2,000. Ain't a lot of money, but it might be enough to cover movement of body to and from, so, but you can kick it up and kick it up. And I also want to say this. A lot of people think because you're in the military, oh, wow, you're in the military because I'm going to be buried in the National Cemetery where I live, which is 2 miles down the street from where I live. But again, a lot of people are under the assumption, oh, the military is going to take care of everything. No, that isn't how it works. The military is going to give you a plot. That's it. And a nice little tombstone to go over it with a little whatever it is. But how are you going to get your body from the morgue to the cemetery? You got to have all that stuff covered. See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, we're under the assumption, well, he's in the military will bury him. Yeah, but they'll give him the plot, but how are you going to have the money to move him to all those things? That's why we have these conversations.
Yeah, another thing is, Ashley says, I remember the agent coming to my aunt's house to pick up her little payment. Yeah, that's old school right there. Going to collect the payment. That is very old school. And I'd imagine in some cases they still do. Mondo, he says, you don't have to give a dime on a GoFundMe unless you know the person. If I know you, I'm not going to give it to you. You know why I'm not going to do it? Because I know if somebody had a conversation with you, why should I take from my legacy to help you bury yours? You know what I mean? Listen, I'm a very compassionate person. I give a lot. But certain things I have to draw the line. And I also did this analogy. And I actually, for my bachelor's, I gave this as a speech. And the question was, how many car washes do you need to have a funeral? And the answer is, and everybody try to come up with all these answers, and I knew the answer. The answer is, nobody knows. Nobody knows how many car washes you're going to need to have. You may be out there for weeks, months, and you don't have that long. You might be out there for a very long time trying to scrub a dub people's cars, and they're having donations. They may give you $1. And listen, it may be a weekend. Daddy Warbucks might drive his double R car through there and say, hey, how much is it going to cost? Oh, I got $20,000 in the back. Here, I'll give it to you. That may happen. It's rare, but it may happen. But why would you want to be on the other end of knowing how many fish fries you need to have, how many car washes you need to have in order to bury your loved one? Because as I said, also within my speech, it's very hard to grieve and wash cars and fry fish at the same time and plan a funeral. That's hard to do. So why not just get a little funky policy, even if it's just to bury somebody? Have that. I don't want to, I wouldn't want to be on that end of it. I have life insurance for myself and my daughter, and I have life insurance on her because people unfortunately pass away. And also, I don't want to just bury my daughter. I want to be able to be rocking in the state hospital all tied up, boo-hooing. But when I get out, I know my bills is being taken care of, right? So, like I said, I used to work at Frito-Lay, and I see people come back all the time after a 5-day bereavement, 3 paid, 2 not paid, to bury husbands, children, siblings, and a whole host of other people. And they come back crying, walking off the floor, crying, boo-hooing, because they didn't have the money not to be there. See, if you have a life insurance policy on somebody, you get to bury them, and you get to say, hey, you know what, job? I'll take the 5 days bereavement, but I may need 6 months. Guess what? I got the money in the bank to stay off for 6 months. And if you fire me, guess what? I got enough money to cry 6 months to a year, 2 years. And then when I feel like I go get me a job, right? That's what life insurance does. It buys you a peace of mind. And speaking of job, a lot of y'all that got life insurance on the job, a lot of times that job life insurance stays with the job. When they fire you or you quit, you don't get to take that with you. It's rare. Maybe some of them have a policy that it works like that, where it's your individual, but at a job, it's a group thing, and they get a group discount, which is why they can offer it to you so cheap. But when you die, the policy, when you get fired or you leave, the policy doesn't go with you. So there's some of y'all that have been on that job 30 plus years, and you're like, oh yeah, I got a life insurance, but you're also getting ready to retire. So when you retire, that life insurance often doesn't go with you. And guess what? Now you're uninsured. Now you say, oh, I don't have any insurance, but I've been at that job since I was 25, and that was 30 years ago. Now I'm 55. Now I need life insurance. Now I'm older. I probably got some ailments. I got maybe high blood pressure, diabetes, all kind of stuff that I did not have when I first started that job. And now I got to go get life insurance that's going to go through the roof now, because now I have all these ailments, and I may not live long, because the insurance company gets paid if you live, not die. So it's nice that you have insurance on the job. It's nice that you have insurance at the credit union, but get your own insurance that you have no matter what.
Yeah, and I'm gonna speak from a veteran's angle, because a lot of people don't know this stuff. If you're a veteran out there, or if you have Uncle Otis who was in Desert Storm, maybe he was in Vietnam or whatever, and he's out there, just kind of families all grown, women, he's just out there, right? I had a couple uncles that were like that too. You could get insurance through the VA as well. It's not, especially if you already got ailments. Let's say he's got cancer, or he has something already messed up with him. You can get insurance through the VA. Now, if you have a relative that is a veteran, right now, you should enroll them, because I know they're going to be hard-headed. Get them to enroll in the VA healthcare system, and they can get their treatments and all that other stuff. But for insurance purposes, the VA does have an insurance thing that they can take right out of their VA payment, or they can pay for it automatically for themselves, and that will cover them in case of funeral and all that other stuff. So the VA does have separate insurance as well if you're a veteran.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you get the detractors in here, and a lot of times I just say, I'm not mad at Mondo. I know a lot of times people just don't know what they don't know. And so it's because they don't know, they lead with emotions, and they think that's where they should go. But it's like when you have knowledge, you're less emotional. So hopefully Mondo is learning something. I saw you said that you were 40. I'm sorry. I said you were 45, you're 40. But yeah, I would that you would just sit in here and just get some information, because you might be able to spread this to somebody else who needs it. Ryan, how you doing? Says, no talk about it. Educate the people that need to know. Forget them busters. Andre says, it's not your parents' responsibility to keep life insurance on you, especially as a 35-year-old adult. Come on now. Rod, how you doing? Says, man, them can at least open up a Fidelity account and invest in some companies that pay dividends. Yep, every month. With that money, hell, I'm getting residual income and I think it meant month. Absolutely. Gina, how you doing? Let's see who else is on here. Terrence, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I was running my mouth, probably ain't even on here no more, but how you doing? Mr. South Carolina, how you doing? You know what? You mean to quit it. Thunder says, I think a lot of folks that fight against doing something financially responsible usually don't want to be responsible for money because they are irresponsible and know they will blow the money. That is true. And a lot of people do, right? Black Isis says, saying that on a public forum tells you his mindset. Yeah. M.O. Den, how you doing? It says, did the youngest do too much? Sure. But y'all ain't no sneakerheads. No, I'm not. I have some nice pair of sneakers. I do. But I'm not going to buy no sneakers before I buy some that I need, right? So, yeah, I'm not a sneakerhead. You're right about that. Not at all. Who else is on here? And I apologize, y'all. I got to skip down because we're about to get out of here. Donovan, are we doing the 5 o'clock show? That's in like 2 hours. Yeah.
That's on you. That's on you.
King Panamera. I know I said that wrong. Well, how you doing? Tracy, what's going on with you? Said this is important information for our people. Black first. Yes, indeed. Hero, how you doing? Says if nearly 40 million Negroes need insurance, who should collect from us? Well, the crazy part is there used to be a Black-owned life insurance company in Los Angeles, Golden West Insurance. I'm not sure if they're still in business. Last time I checked, they were not. There might be some more. And there's a lot of Black insurance brokers, right? They get the money that goes into a Black household, if you will. But the point is, if you can't find somebody Black, which you should, it doesn't matter if they're Black and they're not Black, because at the end of the day, your Black ass need to be buried or your family need to be taken care of, regardless of where it comes from, right? But yeah, dude, find a Black insurance agent. There's a lot of them out there. I know so many people that are Black that sell life insurance, and it's nice to sell it. It's feast or famine a lot of times. Sometimes you get those big giant sales. And you're like, yeah, the commission on that's going to be great. And then sometimes you don't get any. You're like, that's why you have to be good at saving money too, right? But yeah, you can find a Black insurance company.
Yeah, before we get out of here, I just want to say, it's amazing how we can tell people who got the best weed, where to get the best weed, where the best club is to go. We could spread that kind of information, the fun stuff. Oh, gotta go on a cruise. Oh, dude, man, look, man, you got to go to this club over here. Man, this guy's got the best weed. This guy's got the best whatever. We can spread that information. And it's great to know that. But here we are spreading information that is detrimental to your legacy. And we don't want to hear it. We don't want to talk about those things. But then we talk about, the white man came in and took Big Mama's house. Well, how did that happen? Where did that go? Well, I don't know. They just came in and talk about some public domain. Well, did you go to the planning commission? Did you go? You see what I'm saying? The things that we need to talk about, we don't talk about. Like I said, when I look at young people around here, and we were all young at one time, my mom didn't sit me down and say, okay, son, this is how you pay property taxes. This is how you do this, how you do. She didn't do that. But at the same time, when I was in my early 20s, shouldn't I be asking questions if I want to buy a house? Well, how does that work? How does this work? What's going on with this? How many of you guys know? And like I said, I speak a lot from a military aspect because a lot of our military people don't know. How many of you guys know if you have a loved one, grandfather, uncle, your father, your mother who served in the military, what you need to do is ask them for their DD-214. What is the DD-214? It's their discharge papers and their condition of discharge from the military. What you need to do is take that document and file it with your county. That way, as time immemorial goes on, that document will forever be in the county, and any of the children, great-grandchildren need to get information in regards to that person's military service. That document is there to start. You could take any important document and file it with your county, a will, any things like that. See, a lot of us didn't know that. My aunt had to tell me that. Hey, did you file your DD-214 with the county? No, why would I need to do that? Just in case you lose it. Just in case there's a natural disaster, just in case whatever, you can do all these things. So you guys, we really got to have these conversations, because how many of us go through natural disasters where we live, then we lose photos, we lose the important documents, the property deeds and all this other stuff. If we put it, and we live in a digital age now, you can scan this stuff, burn it on a DVD, send it to all your kids, give it to as many relatives as you can, and they're all there. Photos, same thing like that. We live in a digital age. So now with the county, it goes there. It's there forever. As long as there's a county government, wherever you're at, it's going to be on record.
Absolutely. Sandra, how you doing? It says, how do you get life insurance on someone who had cancer but is in remission? Is there an alternative? So sometimes you can and sometimes you can't. Sometimes if they know that you had cancer, depending on how long ago it's been, they'll give you, and these aren't absolute answers, by the way, because they're different scenarios, but they'll give you, sometimes you can get a rated policy like I talked about before, which means that they know that your loved one or yourself had cancer, and so they assume the risk, but they say, okay, we're going to insure you. Normally it's not for a whole lot, but the premium, which is the cost that you pay every month, is usually pretty high, right? Because they're like, we know you're going to die again. Life insurance, or not that you're going to die. I want to take that back, but you could, because you have had cancer before and sometimes it comes back. So they will insure you, but the premium is really high, and they have different kind of other policies as well. So, but every scenario I would say is different. Just want to, put that out there. And depending on how much you get, and most insurance companies do a physical, and especially depending on your age, right? If you're younger, it depends on how much you're getting. They may not do a physical, which is urine, blood, other stuff. If you're older, I would say it's a good chance that they will give you a physical, because they want to know what they can't see. Does that make sense? All right, so let me go on down. Sonji, how you doing? It says, you're telling the truth, Demetria, but life insurance priorities for some of us FBAs are backwards. Yeah, and we just need to keep having these conversations, right? Because somebody will do it and somebody won't. Hey, Bakari, how you doing? I'm sorry it took me so long to get to y'all. Jamila, how you doing? It says, laugh out loud, Demetria, you are spying on me. Time got away from me. I have a big policy on my job. And I'm just now this year getting life insurance off the job, and it's expensive the older you are. But you know what? You got it. You got it. It's never too late, right? Some people be like, need life insurance. It's like, man, you got one foot in the grave and one on a banana peel. Who's going to insure you? You know what I mean? So it's not too late. More threads. How are you doing? Thank you so much. Love and appreciate you. He says, you're speaking facts. Buried my dad 8 months ago. He had all of this taken care of. I couldn't imagine grieving and having to worry about burying him. People really need to listen versus being offended. Right. You know, it's hard to worry and grieve and try to figure out how you're going to scrape $2 together to put somebody in the ground, because funerals aren't cheap. And let me tell you something, funeral homes don't budge. They don't say, well, how much do you have? Oh, I have $500. Okay, good. Just bring us some of those fish plates over and we got you. Another thing too, in regards to cremation. Yeah, cremation is cheaper, but it ain't cheap. Just want to tell you that it's cheaper.
Yeah, the average cremation the average cremation here in California, a basic cremation here in California, basic, $15,000.
Oh yeah, that's a high cremation. Wow. I know a regular funeral is typically about that. I don't know what kind of cremation that is. What are they doing? Cremating you with 24 karat gold dust? I don't know. Emmy says, I have a class of young people. We're setting up generational wealth accounts, personal trust, and land. Yeah, those are the conversations we need to be having. Like I said, it's hard to buy shoes. I'm not shaming anybody. I just want to say, in addition, right? If you're out there buying shoes that are a lot of money, in addition, make sure you have the things that matter, because you may be able to sell your Jordans if you need to pay for a funeral, but I don't know how much you're going to get, you know? Hey, Pamela, how you doing? Long time no see. Hope you're doing well. King Shaw, what's going on with you? He says, remember in New York City when they broke the store doors to get the Jordans in the Bronx? Yeah, they had to get low key, still kind of doing that. Emmy says we should be insuring our children at 1 month of age. You can do it at 10 days old. But you're right. If it's 1 month for you, but 10 days old, you can insure a baby, and they will be insured that much for the rest of their life, especially depending on the policy, right? You getting your child's the latest Jordans for their first birthday. Make sure you have a life insurance policy already, or have one with it, you know, with the Jordans. That's all I'm saying. You know, you do what you want at the end of the day. And King Shaw says, them folks watching us stand in lines for Jordans, but them folks stand in line for Apple iPhones. Yeah. And I'm not one of those people that get an iPhone every year. Hell, I have to be forced to get one. I'll do it like every 4, maybe 5 years. You know?
They got to send Demetra a notice to update her firmware because she's still using Windows XP on her phone.
And I do need to update my phone. I just ain't gonna do it right now. But yeah, I don't believe in all that. And Emmy says, remember they're selling body parts. Oh my God. King Shaw says tax time is the best time to get life insurance policy. Yep, it's not the best time to go to the malls, not the best time to go buy a car you ain't gonna keep for 6 months, not the best time to go to Red Lobster. I know they close most places, but it ain't time for you to be doing that. Not time to be blowing money unless you get your affairs in order, pay off your credit, right? Some people rack up their credit all year and they say, when I get my income taxes, I'm gonna pay it off for real. Get you a policy, you can pay it up, for a year if you want to do that. So there's a lot of things you could do with your income tax money. But as Mondo said, I'm not trying to tell nobody how to spend their money pocket watch, because I'm not going to pay your bills and you ain't paying mine. You know, at the end of the day, you do what you need to do. But as I always say, too, I've been hit up a lot for GoFundMe's and stuff. And like I said, I'm RIP to your loved one or whoever. But I'm more so pissed off because it's like, how many people did you give the cold shoulder? I don't, that's a bill. I'm not trying to leave them rich. How many times did you tell that to somebody, and then, that you have to answer the Grim Reaper? Grim Reaper is like, yeah, I need to take your mama. I need to take your daddy. But guess what? I can't take them for free. It's going to cost you $12,000 to $15,000. So pay up, or they gone, but I'm at the lead. You know what I'm saying? So again, GoFundMe is nice for certain things, but it's not nice to try to scrap together money to bury your mama. It's not. I promise you.
A quick question before we get out of here. Black people are the most homeless in the United States. California, Black men and women and children are the most homeless in California. I want you guys to think about that. These people are homeless. They have nowhere to live, living in hotels or wherever they're out. They're out there in the tents or whatever the deal is. Who is going to bury these people? One way or the other, the taxpayer eventually picks up this tab. So you've got all of these Black people across the nation that probably don't have insurance enough to cover themselves. And if you have a relative that's like that, I have a relative that's out there doing all that stuff like that. Do you have enough money to bury that relative, or your cousin, whoever, somebody in the family? You guys got to think about it. We are so busy in denial of what we see right in front of us. Oh yeah, we having a good time. Blacks, we're the best at this, and and all that stuff is true. All that stuff is true. Yeah, we're great, and this is that. But at the same time, we're the most homeless. So who is covering these people? So ask yourself, if you're in that situation or have a loved one in that situation, talk to your cousin and say, hey, is Uncle Rufus, does he have insurance? Because I know, he's doing the military messed him up and he's out on the streets or whatever. Does he have coverage? And I'm going to speak as a veteran. It is a damn shame that we have veterans out here homeless on the streets with no coverage and whatever, and we can give money to all these other groups and Ukrainian things. The thing is, I know insurance is a bill, but shouldn't a person be able to go on the glory and dignity?
Yeah, and we're supposed to be back here at 5 o'clock. If y'all want us to come back again live, y'all put a 1 in the chat. If not, put a 2 in the chat. I ain't gonna have my feelings hurt. And this is before I leave out of here too. Hey, Lady Diana, how you doing? And who else? And Vanessa Dora, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. I love it. Appreciate you for that. The Average Logical Thinker says biggest minority yet leading in homelessness. Yeah. Miss Excite One, I hope I said that right. How you doing? Don't be that person too. Tracy, how you doing? I'm gonna be dead. Why do I care? I don't care. I ain't gonna be here to know what they have to do. They can just roll me off the side of a cliff. First of all, can't nobody roll you off the side of a cliff, okay? And second of all, it's always fun and games. You saying, are you hot? Yeah, you just think, I don't care. I ain't gonna be here watching. I can. It's all fun and games until somebody do it to you. To somebody up and die on you, and you have to figure out how to bury them. That's when you have your understanding rearranged, right? Oh, damn, that's messed up. Why they do that to me? Maybe that was that person that said, oh, I ain't gonna be here. Why I need to care about that? Yeah, maybe they thought that way of you. So if you're that person, just remember, you may be here for a very long time, and there might be a lot of those people who think like you, kicking the bucket, leaving you with the bill, right? Leaving you wishing, man, I can just roll them off the side of a cliff and keep. No, you can't do that. Okay. To Donovan's point about the homeless people, oftentimes homeless bodies are unclaimed, and so the county will cremate them into that mass, or they'll bury them in a mass grave. Most of the time, it's a cremation in the mass grave. And I say a mass cremation. It's like I said, all the other people who are unclaimed. It says, okay, we're doing 100 people today. Bring all those 100 people over here. We're going to push them in the oven, and we're going to burn them all up. We're going to mix up the ashes, and, the homeless people, we're going to bury them or do whatever we do with their ashes. I don't know what they do. Don't ask me. And the people who couldn't afford, but they knew who those loved ones on, here you go. Is that my mama? Yes. It's your mama. Is that homeless dude? Is that wino? It's the mass. Yeah, right. It's the mass murderer. It's she in there with them. Now, if you spooky like me, I'm not taking that home and putting that on my fireplace. I don't know who all up in there with my mama. You know what I mean? Not to be gory or anything, but just for real. Be wise.
At the end of the day, though, the taxpayer, that's another bill the taxpayer has to pay, which is really unnecessary. And we complain about these insurance companies day in, day out, but yet we let them get away with what they're getting away with because we don't want to take the responsibility, in it of ourselves. 70% of all white wealth is because they have insurance on their loved ones. So if we are going to be emulating the white man, like we want to emulate the white man, we should be getting insurance on our loved ones as well.
Well, then the white man need to emulate us because we are the most insured, just the most underinsured. So we need to make sure we get enough money to leave generational wealth. All right. So it sounds like y'all want us to come back. So I got to find something. Well, I'm gonna ask y'all for I'll be on here another minute. What's out there that we need to talk about? There's so much going on. Trump is, getting denied left and right by judges. He's getting shut down, and there's a whole host of things going on. So what would y'all like to talk about?
Trump is getting shut down, but the fact of the matter is he went in there with hands blazing, throwing paws, just like the Dreamers. Obama signed an executive order. Remember, he signed an executive for the Dreamers. That's still being adjudicated all these years later. That's what you're supposed to do. When you say you're going to do something, his base, it doesn't matter. It's going to be caught up in the court system. He's doing what he said he was going to do, and his people see that. Democrats don't do that. Well, I was going to do it, but the Congress has got it, and they got all these excuses. So,
yeah, y'all don't want poltergeists in your living room, the exorcist and whoever, right? So anyway, Lady Diana says all three of us got life insurance. There you go. Get life insurance on everybody that you will immediately have to be responsible for. Yashi, he says, I'm watching this again on the replay. Yes. Thank you. So I'm looking to see what y'all talk about. It says financial manager want to talk about it again. You know what? I have to bring Walter on here, get him to behave. And because that's more his speed, right? He can break it all down. Yeah, logical thing. It says, did Elon find out anything with the Department of Education spending? I'm not sure if he got that far because I think he was shut down as far as access.
The judge put an injunction on him.
Yeah, but I know they found that FEMA just sent New York nearly $60 million when Trump, I guess, said not to do it. But if he's got all these injunctions, it's like, well, I don't know. But they sent New York $60 million to take care of illegal minors.
Well, you guys got to understand this, okay? So, I have a lot of friends in the federal government, and they're like, oh, my God, it's just wrong, whatever the deal is. What gives Trump the authority? The executive branch of the United States runs federal agencies. That's under the preview of the executive. That means you work for Donald Trump if you like him or not, like being in the military. Doesn't matter if it's a Republican or Democrat. The commander-in-chief is the commander-in-chief, and we've got to follow those orders. So Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution gives Donald Trump the power to do what he's doing. He has empowered Elon Musk to do what he's doing. If those federal workers, and I got a lot of friends that are federal workers, if you do not want to listen and follow the orders of your boss, you need to leave. And see, this is the problem this is why we want to cut the fat with the federal government. It's like these high tenure teachers. Once they get to tenure, they don't want to do nothing. They just want to collect a check. This is what Donald Trump is fighting. And you see a lot of the federal employees that are just upset that Donald Trump is the president. You're insubordinate to your boss. You deserve to be fired. And that's what's going on right here. So don't get tripped up. If you don't want to listen to your boss, you need to go to the private sector. See, people get it confused. You are a public servant. You can be fired. And I know they got a union and all that other stuff. But the point is, the president is the president, and that's who you work for. You should not have any feelings either way it goes and what he tells you what you need to do. You need to do it. Congress, that stunt that Maxine Waters and them pulled, they had every right to lock them out because you have oversight. Yes, you request your oversight, just like if I did a FOIA, and you will get it to me in 10 days and get me an answer, whatever. You do not have the right, because you're in Congress, to go into the federal building if the president doesn't want you there. It's a federal building. He can close that building off to anybody. So we got to get back to common sense here, you guys. You got federal employees that think they work in the private sector, and they actually don't. So I digress. We could talk about that in the next hour.
So I've been writing stuff down. So we'll see. I see Eric Adams, Super Bowl, Josh Shapiro. I'm not sure what's going on with him, but I guess I have to look. Brandon Johnson, there's always something going on with him. I know what's going on with Eric Adams. And then, Average Logical Thinker says, love each other more since it's the month of love, I guess, right? Valentine's Day. I mean, we could talk about that. So I guess I'll have to, do an eeny, meeny, miny. Anonymous says, love stinks. Delon, how you doing? Says, according to some people, insurance and investing is a scam, but not overpriced Chinese-made stickers. You said it. I did not. But yes, Yakoba, how you doing? He says he's the commander in chief. So yeah, I want to talk about the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Yagwaba, he's the commander in chief of the military. He's the president for everybody else because not everybody's in the military. See, people get that confused. He's not a dictator, so he's the commander in chief of the military, not the civilians.
Yeah, I have to bring Walter on for that one. I could talk about it as far as business insurance, like business life insurance, key person insurance, and all that. And I could talk about it to some degree. But as far as any other one, we'll see. Anyway, Super Bowl. I see a lot of y'all want to talk about the Super Bowl. You know what? I'm going to do this. Since Donovan and I have talked or spoke, if you want to be technical a lot, I'm going to open up the link at 5 o'clock. Okay. And the question I want to know is, did you watch the Super Bowl? What and did you watch the Super Bowl halftime? Because that's really what's being talked about more. And what did you think? And what was the message in Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show? Okay. So we'll be back here in just a minute or 2 hours.
Why would anybody watch the Super Bowl? The Dallas Cowboys weren't playing. Why would you watch it? What's the point?
I don't know what's the point of watching them at all. You know, I don't get it. Anyway, so yeah, that's what we'll talk about. And we'll let you guys have the floor. Come up and speak your piece for a couple minutes and then we'll be done with it. So anyway, pretty ugly things. How you doing? Says, I wish you would talk about term or life insurance. Ooh, I can. Maybe if we have time in the next hour, next 2 hours, we will, but I have to get into it. Oh Lord, y'all already getting into it. I'm not going to watch your comments. I'm going to wait until we come back. See y'all in a bit. Peace.